Oh,
Hello and welcome to the Alchemist Inkwell.
this is your spiritual podcast for grounded people, and we are discussing seasons right now for fun.
Yeah, so we're now officially in June, which
Yeah.
I deeply believe is the best month of the year for a myriad of reasons. Not first among them is it's my birthday, but it's also Pride Month. It's also the first month of summer, even though it happens kind of later in the month, still
Mhm.
counts.
Still
And
counts.
the kids get out of school. So it's like all of the good things in one month. And I deeply feel that June is the best month. It just is.
Most of my favorite people were born in June, even throughout my life. Like I cannot tell you how many people in my high school were born on June 6th. All of them born like
You had
June
like
6th,
six people in your
2006.
high school.
We had 180 people in my class. And then some of us were friends with the kids from the Catholic school across the way.
Okay.
But like they were all born on June 6th. And so there was like a 70% chance that one of my friends was going to be born on June 6th. And June 6th, 2006, all of us were just like staying away from them that year, kind of stupid stuff. But I just remember like June 6th to me stands out. And now it's the birthday of one of my favorite characters in Genshin. So it's just like ironic. But yeah, the Gemini.
Weird.
My lot of fortune is in Gemini. So it kind of makes sense, I guess, that I could have good friends there.
Yeah, Geminis are fantastic. But then we were also saying like, what are the other good months of the year? I also really like May. Krista was born in May, which is a major positive May thumbs up moment. Love that. But May's a good solid month too. It has that like transitional between spring and summer feel. Where I live, it's off season. And it's truly the off season. We really don't get a fall off season anymore. We used to when I was a kid. Like May and September, October were like April, May, September, October used to be like beautiful months to be here because nobody was here. That's unfortunately not the case anymore, but May still does hold that, which is lovely. And then Krista was mentioning September, which is a good one, which is
Yeah.
too. It's
So
that
here's
vibe.
my argument for September. Not because of birthdays and things necessarily, but it's that time of year where you get this natural permission to calm down. And so like the baking shows come on for all the different holidays, and you start anticipating all of these landmarks throughout the rest of the year. And even the lighting that nature gives you because of the length of the days at the time. And it's not the
Mm-hmm.
same in spring. Like I know Antisha, right? But
Mm-hmm.
the lighting of the fall at that time of year is just this automatic cozy feature. And it does a lot for my anxiety. And I appreciate it as compared to when we get into winter when I just get sad because it's always dark.
Yeah. No, fair. I was also saying that I did not used to like October as a kid. That being said, when I was a kid, October, by the end of October, we'd start to have snow. So, like, keep that in mind. Now, that's not the case anymore, but I do like it a lot more as an adult for kind of the same reason. We kind of get into cozy space. September, October, we start to get a little bit of rain, maybe, which is super fun. We're typically out of like burning time where we might catch on fire, which is super lovely. So,
Mhm.
I agree. I do think those are nice, kind of comfy time as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, the worst month everyone already knows is April, but
It's
I will
yes.
say, yeah. I will also say though, sometimes February is a close second to that. Not that I dislike February's energy the way April is, but February is just hard sometimes.
February doesn't end. And I know everybody's going to be like, but it's only 28 days, sometimes 29 days. No, it is an eternity of time wobble, and it doesn't let you go. It makes you think, oh, I'm only here for a short time. It's fine. Like, have a groundhog, let him make you feel sad that there's going to be more weeks of winter. And it's very Pluto, like the way that Pluto comes through in my skits, that kind of energy of the I enjoy toying with you. And my phone just went off. So I'm just going to point that out. February enjoys toying with you.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it does. You're
That's why
not
I
wrong.
said doing Egypt trips then, because it like cancels out that energy.
Yeah. Also, just want to throw this out there. Yes, we did launch a second Egypt trip. If you were like, what? We
Yes.
did. We decided because the last Egypt trip, as we said, for March 2025, sold out in like literally 5 minutes, which was amazing. But we got a wait list that is longer than the amount of people that are able to go on the trip from that trip. So we were like, let's just stay in Egypt, or come to Egypt earlier and just do two trips back to back. So we launched that. So if you got an email like, there's another Egypt trip. Yes, you did.
Hmm.
We kind of surprise launched it. We launched it to people on the wait list first. And then we opened it up to everyone. As of this recording, there is still spots on it. I cannot confirm if there still will be when you listen to this, but if you want to come to Egypt with us, we did try to accommodate that the best that we can. The space is there for you. And again, that trip will also have a waiting list. So it's called Egypt Again. It's in the
Hmm.
in LinkedIn uh our bios. So you can go ahead and find it there. And if there's still spaces, by all means, go for it. Take advantage of that. Still has a payment plan. It's the same trip, basically, but we're doing two of them. And you can also hop on the wait list for that. We do tend to have, especially with Egypt, some attrition. We did end up getting, I think, two people off the waiting list for this year's waiting this blah, 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 this year's trip. That we did a couple months ago. A couple people got off the waiting list and onto that one. So it's not a bad idea to sign up for the waiting list by any means. If for some reason you listen to this and it's already sold out.
Hmm.
We don't have a lot of spots. We only have like 4
Hmm.
left at this point. So yeah,
But
just
if
to
you're supposed to be on the trip, you will end up on the trip. And
Mhm.
we've done what we can to create space for that to happen.
Yeah,
So,
we're doing our best. We
yeah.
know Egypt is a big, we want everyone to go to Egypt. It's amazing.
It's an activating place and it's
Hmm.
awesome. Yeah.
Hmm. It really, really is.
Especially for the transits that are happening on the trips that we're going on. Um, it's going to be a lot of opportunity to really, like, if you feel like there's a thing stuck in there and you want to pull it out in a place that can hold that energy with you and empower you through it, that's Egypt.
Hmm. Yep. It's gonna be really cool.
Mhm.
So anyway, we would love for you to come with us. It's gonna be great.
Mhm.
Super duper great. And also just gonna drop this again. Stay tuned over the course of, I think by the start of next month, we'll be announcing some super other fun, exciting stuff that we're doing. Not just trips. That also is coming up very soon. So stay tuned for that too, for other trips. But we're also doing some new and exciting stuff with us that I think you guys will really enjoy and appreciate as well. Yes, I am just dropping hints. So stay on the line.
Yeah, we channeled this in during Italy and we got really excited about it and it's coming in very easily. And so we believe that it's set up for all the people that hopefully need it and are looking forward to it. So we're looking forward to opening it up.
Yeah. That being said, also going to mention Sacred Spaces tickets are live. Thank you to all of you who have already decided to come. We're so excited. A couple of the add-ons have already sold out. So if there's, experiences you definitely want to have as far as a magical add-on goes, make sure you hop in on those. We would love for you guys to come to Sacred Spaces. It's so much fun. And there's everyone there made friends. Everyone
Mhm.
there made friends they still talk to, that they still connect with. And we're so excited to get to offer this again and create that experience for everyone again. And it's going to be incredibly unique and fun. And I'm so excited about it. So we would love to see you guys there. That is at the end of September. And you can go to sacredspacesgathering.com to grab your tickets for that as well. But it's really fun. We get to hang out with you guys. We get to do all this magic. The energy was so intense in the actual space. Lovely intense, not intense like, but like intense like, oh my gosh, there's so much energy here that
Those are
my
live.
activation shut down the Phasma box. Like it was a whole experience. And that's what it's going to be again. It's really neat. So, um, yeah, we were excited to see you guys there. I'm so hyped for Sacred Spaces. Like so hyped.
It's so great. It
Mhm.
is everything. It like gets me emotional on the inside when I think about what it was able to accomplish in January, about creating connections and making availability for friendships for people, because that's all I wanted when I was younger. And now to know that I get to be a part of creating that for other people, that's just awesome. It's
Mhm.
nice.
I know all our volunteers from last time were so passionate and excited to do it again. And I think
Yeah.
that's what the mark of a good event is, in my opinion, is the
Mhm.
people that helped work it want to be there again, doing
Yeah.
it again.
Yeah. And we are learning. So we're
Cool.
we're doing even more and even better
Yeah.
than the last one. It will continue to grow that way.
Yeah. We've got really exciting plans for this one too. So just so you know. Um, But yeah, so anyway, that's what we got going on. Also just gonna announce this because I have been bugging everybody about it for months now. I launched the Train With Me program. Applications are open. You can go to my website, emilydexterpsychic.com, and submit your application if you'd like. I probably am going to close them. Um, pretty fast because I'm already getting a good amount of applications and I am trying to keep these cohorts kind of small. But yeah, go ahead and throw your name in there if you would like to train with me. So that is officially open, as I said it would be for like a couple months. It is now, I promise.
Yeah, it
It's
happened.
actually
Huzzah.
happening.
Yay,
Like
Jupiter and
it's a really
Gemini.
right? Jupiter and Gemini, man, it's feeling so good. I love it. It feels really nice. Um,
Yeah,
Finished certain things that I'm not really ready fully to dive into. But um, and I've launched other things and I embrace it. Jupiter, Gemini, all the way. All the way.
yeah,
Yeah. On that note, we got a bunch of astrology stuff going on.
we
Do we
do.
want to talk about that?
So, yeah, the first thing I want to talk about, which is probably old news by the time this episode airs, but was really hilarious to see the dichotomy of astrologers to social media space accounts over the
Mhm.
weekend was the parade of planets.
It was so
And
funny.
and one had Krypton on it.
I saw that. It was so someone had it. I saw that. The funny thing with that is I saw that on Instagram and I was like, what isn't Krypton from Superman? Like, why did they mark Krypton on this thing? But like I just kind of breezed past it, like whatever. And then someone shared it to us and you were like,
Krypton.
that's Krypton. Okay, so
Malcolm shared it to the group and was like, look what's going on. And I was like, oh man, like cool. And I need to let you know what's really going on here. LOL. I don't know why Krypton's on there. um, but so if you were looking for the parade of planets and you were a little bit concerned as to why it didn't look like the animated Disney animated Hercules ending, where all the planets align ever so nicely. That's because that's not what it looks like in the sky right now. The planets exist there, but you can only see two out of the like 6 or 7 that they list on that thing
yeah.
with your naked eye right now. It should be more, but Jupiter and Mercury are quite close to the sun, and so you can only see them right before sunrise. And I highly recommend, if you're going to go looking for them, wear your eclipse glasses because they are in the glare of the sun at this point. And
Hmm.
so if you look at them, you're actually looking at sun rays, which could hurt your eyes. Don't do that. I don't want you to get hurt. Eclipse glasses will work. And you should be able to maybe see the 2 little dots like just above the sun at the eastern horizon. Then once you get looking away from those, now you'll need to grab your telescope because Uranus and Neptune are only visible with a telescope. Uranus is sometimes visible with the naked eye, just not right now. So then you can continue looking upward. You'll find Mars. Mars is great as long as it's still, dark in the sky. You'll be able to see Mars and you will be able to see Saturn. That's great. So you can see Mars and Saturn right now. They will be more directly above you around like just before sunrise, but they will be there. You can't see Jupiter and Mercury without your eclipse glasses, and that'll have to be pretty close to sunrise. And you can't see Uranus and Neptune without a telescope. So it's not going to look like the ping, 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 cool graphic that you saw on social media. That being said, if you want to experience it, you can. It's just a little bit clunky.
Hmm. Yeah. And it's one of those things that is like, yay, they're all aligned from our perspective, but that doesn't necessarily have bearing on what they're doing to us in the sky. That
Mhm.
being said, any moment of alignment is always a moment of alignment for you too, because we are a fractal of the universe. So it's a moment of alignment. We're witnessing it, we're a part of it. So embrace this moment of alignment that we're in. Like that is lovely.
Yeah.
Um, for what it is.
Yeah. And honestly, this happens not frequently, not infrequently. We're still kind of separating the cluster from 2020 that's been going on. So this happens right now once a year or so, where they will be lining up, just because the outer planets are still hanging out in relatively close proximity, and then the inner planets run pretty close to each other right now. And so we get this really nifty thing where they all kind of line up. A nifty one, I think, is the Aries ingress of 2026. So I will be telling you more about that as 2026 approaches, but lots of people, lots of planets anyway, are going to be in Aquarius all at the same time. I think there's eclipses that year that are kind of jonesing that way. It's going to be an interesting year, but I'll leave the interpretation of that for when I actually can tell you more about it, when I've studied it more deeply. Right now, there's just a lot of power going on in Gemini because we've got by Thursday this week, by June 6th, we have, there's that birthday again, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
By June 6th, we have the new moon, which is the moon and the sun in Gemini, both conjunct Venus, and then
Woo!
Jupiter and Mercury are there as well. Now, unfortunately, because the sun is there, glaring all of them out, you won't be able to see it with your eyes. But if you observe the rays of the sun that day, just know you are also observing both benefics, the moon and Mercury.
Woo!
Yeah,
Just all the woo for
so
this
much
Gemini
Gemini.
season.
Yeah.
I love so much Gemini. I embrace all the Gemini. I think it's great. I do also just want to say, whenever there's something that is in the sky, like the line of planets, like even just being able to witness planets in the sky in general,
Oh my
it's a
God.
really cool thing just to get to do and acknowledge that we are part of this solar system that we get to
Mhm.
participate in. Like that's incredibly freaking nifty.
Yeah.
So embrace that too, because it's just so, yeah, I love that magic. I just love
Well,
that magic.
and to that point, you can do this with the moon all the time. When you start realizing that the phases of the moon are actually the lit part of the moon in relation to the sun, and you start thinking, oh, because I can see that part of the moon, the sun's over there. And now you're like becoming conscious of the movement
Hmm.
of the sky. Next week, we should be able to start seeing Jupiter in the morning as a morning rising star because the sun is pulling ahead. So you'll be able to
Hmm.
see Jupiter. And what you can do is now that you can see Jupiter and you can see Mars, you will see them coming closer and closer together because they do have a conjunction coming up over the next month-ish. And
Hmm.
so you'll watch them pull closer and closer together. Now, it might not be like this. It might be like at a different declination. So one might be a little bit lower than the other, and then they'll line up one on top of the other. I haven't checked their declination, so I'll have to look into that. But just knowing that you're watching these planets come together and that the ancients would have said, oh, Jupiter and Mars or Zeus and Ares are coming together and clashing. That's what they were talking about. This is how myths were made. And it happens above our heads all the time. We just aren't looking up.
Yep. When if you guys were listening and not watching, Krista went this and went put smushy hands together. That was what
Mhm.
this meant. As a
Well, that's
she
why I
just
was saying they might not be perfect and they might be one on top of the other. I was trying to describe it, but check the video if you're trying to see what declination is. It's kind of like a merry-go-round. The planets, as they're going in a ring around the sky, they're also going up and down.
Mhm. Okay. I was just like, let's just explain. This means clap.
Yeah. Yeah, planet sandwich.
Planet sandwich. Yeah. So it was really funny because before I hop on this call, and Krista knows this, I'll always be like, okay, like, what is the energy of this week? And I tune into it too. And I obviously don't read it by the planets. I just read by the energy, the way that it looks. When I look into the energy of this week as its own little time period, I basically pull the time period up before my eyes and see how everything flows and then translate that into words, which I know sounds baffling for most people. So I apologize, but that's what I do.
Hmm.
I'm like looking at it, and the first thing that I felt from the energy of this week is that people are going to get a lot of clarity in relationships,
Hmm.
not just romantic relationships, but also interpersonal relationships and relationships with your guides, with yourself. Like a lot of clarity in our relationship spaces is coming in. That is one of the most prominent energies of this week that I'm seeing.
Yep.
And then Krista was like, well, that makes sense. Venus is doing Venus stuff.
Venus Kazemi in Gemini. Yeah, it's funny because I look at the astrology and I just ask the chart, like, what do people need from this? And I'll analyze all the stuff, but then I'll be like, okay, put that in a sentence in my head. And that's when I do my little apply it thing in my newsletter. So the apply
Hmm.
it thing is the planet saying, tell them to do this. And
Hmm.
so it was send a text or a letter or something to your strawberry friends. Now, your strawberry friends are the friends that you really do want to nurture your friendships with because they are reciprocal in, the energy there. Strawberry friends is something I got from the book Unmasking Autism by Devin Pierce, I think is the name. And so there are friends in my contacts where it's like, I feel like I have the energy to maintain a friendship with someone or to connect with someone. I'll go through this list and find someone with a strawberry that I haven't talked to in a while and just be like, hey, how are you? And that's how I like sort of manage all of that. So this is a great time for making connections with those strawberry friends. Um,
Yeah.
Or they'll reach out to you and you might find that you're surprised that someone comes into your life and you're like, oh, hey. And I'm inclined to think that it's a good thing because, again, we have both benefics there. They're direct, everybody's direct, they're all under the beams, but Venus is in the heart of the sun. She is as
Mhm.
pure as she gets in Gemini. So this is a great time for reforging those connections.
Love that. Yeah, that's exactly the vibes that I got off it too. It's very much just like clarity, and that doesn't always mean good things. When I was looking at the clarity, it's like, oh, clarity. It might be like, oh shit, this particular relationship is over. Oh dang, I got to move on from this. But it also could be like, oh, but that is someone I really want to reconnect with. That is someone I really want to
Mhm.
reassociate with myself. Oh, also the Kazimi's happening at their time they record Monday of this week. So when we're talking right now, it's happening ish or
Yeah.
Tuesday. So
So
it will have happened by the time you hear this.
the way this rolls is that Hellenistically, if Venus and the Sun are on the same numbered degree, so in this case 13, they are in
Hmm.
Cazimi. Then later, this was actually called being in the heart by ancient astrologer Rhetorius, the Egyptian. And Rhetorius the Egyptian, I believe it was Rhetorius, it might have been Dorotheus. Either way, both of them called it in the heart. And one of them, because I get them mixed up, was the primary source that Islamic and Persian astrologers took into their considerations when they adapted it in the medieval period. And they called in the heart Kazimi. That was their word. And so now we have Kazimi being in the heart of the sun, but they also fine-tuned it to Venus being within 16 degree minutes on either side of the sun. So currently, here on Monday and all the way through until later in the day, by 2:30, they will have separated from the Kazimi. During the new moon, they're still all good. And the exact Kazimi is taking place on Tuesday this week.
Okay.
So
Dang. Okay.
yeah.
So
So if
we
you're
will
catching
be.
this on Wednesday or Thursday, you still have the Venus Cazimi to work with.
Mhm.
Um, it's still nice either way.
Yeah. Yeah. And on Wednesday/Thursday, we have a new moon,
Yes.
which is really fun. Again, I would say relationship manifestations would be really helpful for this new moon. That
Mhm.
or confidence stuff. Um, feels also really good. If you're
Yeah.
needing confidence in a specific area, that's what I would recommend manifesting. If you want new relationships, whether that's friendships, mentorship, partnership, whatever, that would
Mhm.
be also what I would recommend manifesting for this new moon for sure.
Yeah. I am focusing on relationships that feel intellectually equal and respectful.
Nice.
And so it's like, I see you, I respect who you are, I appreciate you, I lift you up for all the things that you are, and you do the same for me. That kind of respect in a relationship feels very prominent right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that too. The other kind of thing I would say for this new moon, it is a really good new moon that if you're like, what should I do for it? How do I honor this new moon? I would say go on an adventure. That's what
Mm.
I would say. Even if that adventure is small, even if that is an adventure to the grocery store, but you decide it's an adventure and you make it an adventure in some way, that's great. But that is truly what I recommend for this new moon is it's very much a manifest through going on an adventure. And if whatever type of relationship you're trying to call in, think about that type of connection if they were there on the adventure with you.
Mhm.
Like what would they say? Or how would you talk about this adventure to that person? Again, if that's like a new boss or something, obviously you might not want them on the adventure with you, but how would you tell them about it? It's more of a go do something fun and adventurous and then experience the imaginings of the relationship through that way and manifest it in that way.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is a great time for imagination for
Mhm.
sure. Journaling, writing little stories, that kind of stuff. Like if you don't want to go out and have an adventure in your mind and write it
Mhm.
down. Um,
Mhm.
Having imaginary conversations is a great thing to be able to do if you
Yeah.
needed to, if you wanted to. I do that all the time anyway, but
Yeah. I mean,
some
read an
imaginary, some
adventure
not.
book,
Yeah,
right? Read an adventure book, watch an
yeah.
adventure movie, something where you're getting that spirit of adventure into your space.
Mhm.
And again, adventures don't have to be big. I'm not telling you to take the ring to Mordor. I'm just telling you to like have the veil of adventure over everything you do.
Yeah. Go to Rivendell, have some lambus bread. It's fine.
Hmm. Yeah, we're good.
Hang out in
Oh,
Hobbiton. I would. Huh.
Gosh, I would too. Have you seen that Hobbit Switch game? It's a cozy Switch
I
game.
sent you that when it was first in development because it
Right.
reminded
I
me of
want
you.
it so badly. It's still in development. I want it so bad. I check on it probably every 2 weeks because I'm just like, come on, Hobbit game.
Yeah,
I want you so
that's, oh,
badly.
how could you not? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Play video
I
games.
want to, yeah. I've been playing Dredge on the Switch, which has been fun. It's
Yep.
kind of a little like Eldritch Horror-y, but not that scary. It just gives you that anxiety, like, don't get me, monster, please. As you're like driving your little ship away from the like haunted cove.
That's
Um, it's like a cute little fishing game thing. Um, and it's really indie and I really like it. It's super fun. But that is not quite as much as it's an adventure, but it's also a little bit like that.
hmm We have a new patch dropping in Genshin this week, which has been highly anticipated for the story. So I'm excited about that.
Oh, fun. See,
Yeah.
all the adventures.
Yep.
I will actually be on an adventure for the new moon. Um, I will be in San Francisco with a special guest that will be on our
hmm
podcast next time that you
Yep.
may or may not already know.
May or may not. Uh-huh. Spoiler, you probably know them.
Know them, but we'll be an adventure. We're adventuring. We will be doing content in various locations too. One very spooky one is this
Mm,
week.
good luck with that. I will be in
Thanks.
Denver. No, no, I won't be in Denver this week. I'll be in Denver next weekend. Surprise, learning more astrology.
Wow. Who would have thunk? Amazing, Krista. No, I
Thank
love that.
you.
I'm so excited for you. I think it's actually going to be a really, really cool. This particular learn astrology, I'm really, really excited for you about.
Me too. It's the stuff that's
Mhm.
like what I'm interested in. And it was like, if you're not advanced in it, this is not the one to come to. And I was like, finally, I get to ask my questions. It's going to be so good. I usually end up being like a pseudo TA
Yeah.
at a lot of the conferences because it's like I have a Virgo midheaven, so I need to like chill on that sometimes. But if the TAs are already busy, then I'll like help somebody if they don't understand what a concept is trying to do, and then I'll help them figure it out. And that's great. But also I have questions and I'm so stoked to be able
Hmm.
to ask them and like integrate and have things click. It's gonna be fun.
Hmm. Yeah. I'm excited for you. It's going to be
Yeah.
really cool. Really, really cool. And well, you'll update us on the
Yeah.
podcast when you get back about it.
I will tell you everything, and I will also be applying all these timing techniques to your solar return, which I will
Yes.
probably be working on the plane while I'm there. That and my talk for Sacred Spaces.
Thank you. That is so kind of you. I so appreciate it. Also, I love how you prepare your talk so far in advance and I wing my talk the
Well,
way.
you have no idea what my September is doing to me. So I have my class for my master's program, and the intensive is in September as well. So my goal is to do the project, the final project that'll be due afterwards, before fine tune it during the intensive and then turn it in so that I can focus fully on sacred spaces. But I know that I'm going to have anxiety about my sacred spaces talk because there is some required research for that on my part right now. So until I get my project for my class, I'm going to do the sacred spaces, at least the outline. I do an outline and then I tell everybody in my team to be like, what do you need in this? Here's the house, build it. And then they'll come in and give me all the other stuff I have to fine tune. So,
Yeah.
and I have not finished my book yet, so I still have to do that too. Some of us haven't finished our book yet, like Emily has.
What? Oh no. More announcements coming soon. Anyway, thank you for doing my solar return. I'm really excited about it. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
My birthday is next week.
Yes, it is.
That's soon.
I know.
Okay. Okay, sure. Sure. That's what we're doing next week. Oh,
Oh,
awesome.
sorry. I just noticed, and this is great for anybody who is on the Egypt 2.0 trip. And I have no qualms about announcing this. Hani is going to be our guide again. It has been confirmed.
Hell yeah, it has. Hell
Yes.
yeah, it has.
Oh, we're gonna see Hani again. Gonna have to message him after this. Yes.
Oh, I'm
And
so
don't worry,
excited.
anybody on the other Egypt trip next year, we have already reached out to Hani personally and said, hey, we're doing this. So
Mhm.
99.9% chance that Hani will be the guide for that too. We're going to spend 3 weeks next year with Hani.
Connie's he's our bestie. I love Connie. He's like family immediately.
Right. Oh.
Oh, oh, okay. Amazing. Also we wanted to share, since this is the start of Pride Month, and we, first of all, happy Pride. We love you. Happy Pride. We're so happy to celebrate Pride Month. Again, another reason that Junie's amazing. But we also want to talk about some of our high vibration fiction recommendations
Mhm.
that would be really good to read during Pride Month that feature queer characters in some way. I also do want to just plug our amazing author, Aspen
Yes.
Bassett. Her book, The Crimson Clover, which we are publishing through Ninth House, also features queer characters in a
Mhm.
couple different ways. And if you want to see that on the shelves, please go check out her stuff on TikTok or Instagram, and you can support her GoFundMe essentially campaign, her crowdfunding campaign to get her through the publishing process. And we highly recommend that because her book is really good. We
Yep.
read it, so go check it out. It's awesome. But just gonna highlight that a little bit, and throw that out there.
Yeah.
Krista, do you want to kick us off with one of your recommendations?
So, okay, one of my recommendations, this is not going to surprise anybody. My first one is going to be FT Lucan's So This Is Ever After.
Knew it. Knew
Yeah,
it.
first one. Yeah, I have several others, but that is my favorite still. Um, yeah, it is basically what happens after the D&D campaign when you accidentally trigger like some kind of little trap. It's
Mhm.
like that it's the resolution of a D&D campaign, but it's adorable and it's
Mhm.
cozy and there's just so many warm and fuzzies and there is enough plot that it still feels like I need to turn the next page for character reasons and plot reasons. It's just really well done. I like it. And everyone is so unique in their relationships, in their identities, in their presentations. It's all in there, and it's a really great place to explore everything.
And it's so flow. It's
It's
just
a,
so
it's,
flow. It just flows. Everyone's so fluid the whole
Mhm.
time, and it's just really cool.
Yeah,
I like that one. Good recommendation.
yeah.
Good, solid.
Healthy
Solid.
relationships, friendship, and otherwise.
Hmm. I will pop in. Also, probably will surprise nobody. All of my I don't know if any of my recommendations will surprise anybody, but I do want to throw it out there. Starting with House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. I love that book so much. So it's amazing. Magical Orphanage. It's fantastic. And he is releasing the second one, which is just House in the Cerulean Sea, but from the other person's perspective. So from
Yeah.
Arthur's perspective. And that one's a good one. So that one has a lot of, and also Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune too. Both
Mhm.
are lovely for
I
that.
do love that
Really are.
one.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Do you have another one?
The other one I'll bring up is Arrival, Most Vile, VIAL. It's another lit RPG one.
Hmm.
But it's the storekeepers in the world of like a D&D campaign, and it's two potion shopkeepers across the street from each other. One is obviously neurodivergent and has had a neglected childhood and a really hard time. The other one was loved really well and is charismatic, and so they end up having to do a commission together. And you learn about everybody else who owns the shop on the street being this really great found family, and they go through hard stuff and they get mad at each other and then they forgive each other, and there are some things where you're like, is that forgivable? And there's this whole big thing about it that I also really I just loved reading. It was one of those things
That's
like
amazing.
I can't wait to get back into my book.
Yeah. See, that's great.
Yeah.
I when you recommended that on the previous podcast, I downloaded
Mhm.
that immediately. I was like, doing it. So I will probably be reading that.
Yeah.
On the note of stuff
That's
I'm reading, I'm actually reading The Honey Witch. It just came out. The beginning was a little slow. It is practical magic mixed with Bridgerton, but
well,
queer.
that's awesome. Yeah.
And it's queer. And the beginning was a little bit slow, but I'm definitely getting into it now. I have not finished it, so I cannot fully give you my recommendation, but if that appeals to you, I do like the writing. I can tell she's a good writer, which is really nice. And I do like the um, queer application throughout the entirety of the book for the most part. It's not, even though it is Bridgerton time period, it's not Bridgerton stigma,
Mhm.
not, Regency England stigma. Anyway, so that's a fun one. And again, magical, very witchy. And there's a lot of bumblebees, which you know me, gotta love the bees.
Mm-hmm.
My son, it was really funny. Yesterday we were at the beach and my son's like, Mom, what's your spirit animal? I'm like, well, actually, I don't talk about what my spirit animal is because the concept of spirit animals is associated with colonization and it's cultural appropriation. And it's like in a very negative way because white people took an idea from certain Native American tribes, took it, totally twisted around and applied it to all people. And that's just not how it works. However, my inner power animal is definitely a bumblebee. And he was just like, I don't know what to do. It's
Yes.
like, okay. But yes, Bumblebee all the way. Um, but anyway.
We were at Norwalk last week and someone said, if your life were an animal, what would it be?
Hmm.
And I was sitting there thinking, and the next thing I know, Sekhmet comes up behind me, smacks the back of my head, and I'm like, Sphinx. And everybody was like, wasn't expecting a mythological one, but get it. I'm like, yeah, it'd be a Sphinx.
I don't have an answer to that question. I have no
Yeah,
idea
you'll have
what
to think
my
about it. Maybe by the end of the episode.
honestly, probably a horse because they're scared of their own shadows, but also like ride into battle and are forever hungry. So like
Hmm. I can
they
relate.
don't have the receptors in their brain that tells them when they're full. Horses will eat themselves to death. So,
I also relate to that. Corgis are that way too, by the way.
so fragile, so breakable, and yet necessary.
Hmm.
It's valid for my life space. So ponies.
Hmm.
Let's see, what other? Oh, if you're looking for more classical representation, we'll always and forever recommend the Song of Achilles.
Hmm.
It's best. Love the Song of Achilles. I'm due for a reread, honestly, the Song of Achilles. I miss it. I was thinking about that the other day. So that's a really good one. If you want one without magic, two recommendations. The
Yeah,
Charm Offensive. We've
I
talked
was
about
going to
that a
say
lot
that one too.
recently. Yeah,
Are
super
you going to
good.
say red, white, and royal blue?
How did you know?
Because they're so good.
Have you watched it yet?
Yes.
Red, White, and Royal Blue? Okay.
Yeah.
That was also well done.
Yes. It was decent. There's some stuff I'm like, oh, you could have added this in, but they couldn't have
Hmm.
because it had to be a shorter movie. I get it. But
Hmm. Yeah.
yeah.
So that's good, very modern. Also, Anxious People
Mm.
has a bunch of queer representation too. The book I talked about on last podcast. And it's done in a very modern, just it's normal sort of way because it is. Um, Also, the Legends and Lattes duology. Read Legends and Lattes first, and Bookshops and Bone Dust second. Also,
Hmm.
really great queer rep. Um, and you'll read it really quickly. They're
Yeah.
speedy little guys. Yeah.
I think FT Lukens has Spellbound, which was pretty good.
Mm.
Like magicians and those without kind of things. Then there was one lately that I read so long ago, it's not showing up on my immediate library list on my Kindle. But I think it's something like Supernatural, something like that. It just came out in April. And that was pretty good too. It was like a spirit familiar and
Mm.
them interacting in the real world, that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Lots of like natural deity
I'm
connection
trying
there.
to remember the name of that one too. But yes.
I think
Mm.
it's like supernatural. Okay,
Yeah.
Lupins. Uh, otherworldly.
Otherworldly. There we go. Yep.
Mhm. Yeah.
Also, Gideon the Ninth, Lesbian Necromancers in Space. It's great. It's so confusing the whole time, but you're okay with it. You're like, I'll be confused. I'll just keep reading. It's great.
I can hold on to
Um,
that.
yeah, highly recommend that one. That one's fun. That one's very fun. Man, I could
Oh,
keep going. It's so many.
I know. I was gonna say last one I'm gonna mention because it was intriguing. Like the romance of
Mhm.
it wasn't like if you're looking for romance in it, not a lot. But that didn't detract from it. It was very intriguing. It was like 2001: A Space Odyssey, but
Mm, okay.
younger and queer. The Darkness Outside Us by Elliot Schreffer, I believe is the name. And there is a second one to that I have not read, but it was one of my plane ride listens. And I found that like I couldn't multitask because I was just sort of in the zone with it. So
Nice.
yeah.
Final one I'll mention, which is featured in the most prominent, you can't really see it because it's kind of dark behind me. The most prominent place on my bookshelf is Light from Uncommon Stars. It not only fully cured my depression in 2 Decembers ago now because I was in such a bad place. It fully cured it. I'm not even kidding. It has wonderful trans rep. It has wonderful queer rep. It's a demon, an alien, and a like violin savant walk into a donut shop. That's the only way I can describe that book. And it will be tattooed on the sleeve. It is one of my all-time favorite books. I love it so freaking much. I will say it's not for everyone. I think some people find it very confusing. Um, I didn't, and it was incredibly worth it. It was incredibly worth it, and I love that book. So that will be I have so many more recommendations, but that will be my final one that I mentioned. It's one of my all-time faves. I'm actually feeling like I'm getting to like a list of having like these are some of my all-time favorite books, which is pretty cool because for a long time I was like, how do you choose your favorite child? Which is my dog, in case you're wondering about the child question. But uh I do think I'm starting to get to a point where I'm like, okay, I have like a solid list of like my all-time favorites, which is pretty fun to be in that space in like my reading zone, you know?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
It's really nice to have this list to pull from and have recommendations from. When we first started this podcast and we were doing bookend episodes, I remember my anxiety was like, oh, I don't read enough to be able to keep up with this. And I would have like one book a month. And then now I've gotten in the flow of it again. It's really nice. So thank you guys for giving me the space for this.
Yeah. But anyway, happy Pride Month to all of
Happy
those
Pride
who
Month.
celebrate and honor. We celebrate and honor, and I'm sure we'll have more Pride content during the month.
Mhm.
Um, but we see you, we recognize you,
Yeah.
and it's super awesome to get to celebrate with you. I have my Pride nails, my first round of them. That's
I
going
would say,
on.
and
They're like rainbowy.
hopefully, it'll be much more apparent, I hope, come the beginning of next year, but hopefully every month in this podcast for you all is a Pride Month. Um,
Mm-hmm.
just given our lifestyles, our affiliations or identifications. Um, but yeah, I hope that you feel welcome here all the time because we love you the whole time.
Yeah,
Um, yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well, this is super fun. There's a lot of really fun energy this week slash this month because June's the best.
Mhm.
So we hope that you take all of that energy and you go make
We'll
some
make some
magic.
magic.
Yeah.
I heard last week was really good. Maybe this week will be too.
You know, someone complimented us, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's rare,
We tried.
but compliment worthy.